Welcome to Sword and Shield, the official podcast of the 960th Cyberspace Wing. Join us for insight, knowledge, mentorship, and some fun as we discuss relevant topics in and around our wing. Please understand that the views expressed in this podcast are not necessarily the views of the U.S. Air Force nor the Air Force Reserve, and no endorsement of any particular person or business is ever intended.
Welcome to another episode of the Sword and Shield. I am Chief Master Sergeant Christopher Howard, 960th COG SEL, and today with me I have
Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Leader.
Lieutenant Colonel Eric Stride.
Gentlemen, thank you for spending some time with me today. I'm really excited about the 50th Network Warfare Squadron, and you two are the leaders, right? And that's no pun intended for you, sir.
Well, I would say that, any unit will only have one leader at any given time. So I'm the outgoing. I just handed the flag over to Lieutenant Colonel Stride last week.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet moment. Did great. I would say it's been the highlight of my career, being the commander of the 50th Network Warfare Squadron, seeing them go through a lot of changes. They have a really long history here at Lackland and Kelly Air Force Base doing basically an OPSEC mission. Where they would listen to phone calls, listen over radios to hear what information different units are kind of putting out there that the enemy could sweep up.
Okay.
And as technology has evolved, so has the mission. So now a majority of what we do is read emails. And yes, we read your emails.
So Big Brother is watching you, right?
Yes. Okay. But we do it for a couple different reasons. Again, we have a mission where we look specifically at that OPSEC posture, and then we have other missions where we look at when people send passwords out into the open, kind of what does that do for our network security posture. So we definitely look at it from a cyber perspective nowadays. But I'll let Lieutenant Colonel Stride kind of talk a little bit more about even in the near future, there's some evolution of the mission.
Gotcha.
No, absolutely. So, everybody's aware, right? 16th Air Force stood up just over 2 years ago now, all right, with the task of, moving forward information warfare in the Air Force's operational mission set, right? So it's not just cyber by itself, it's not just intel or EW or space by itself, but it's really how do we integrate all of the different mediums, the different mechanisms of warfare there to impact all of the domains, right? And have I would say, how to break down those stovepipes, right? And make them interact and cross-flow better. And so there are going to be opportunities for us within the 960th, within the 50th, to look at potential opportunities to evolve and to embrace new mission sets. And so the future isn't completely set yet, right? I would say, in my 19 years in the Air Force, right, the one thing that's been constant has been change, right? So embracing that and looking at it as an opportunity, right? Should we, be tasked to engage in a new mission set, look at what opportunities does that present us to improve our force, improve our effectiveness, and our ability as a reserve force to answer the needs of the Reg AF and of 16th Air Force.
And I'll just add really quick that you mentioned change is the only constant, and with the new direction from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Brown, accelerate, change, or lose. So we're getting ready to put the pedal to the metal.
Gotcha. Right. I mean, but if you look at the history, really, this is a mission of protection like InfoSec, OPSEC, and so forth. And I anticipate as we continue to go down the path with the 16th Air Force and through these mission sets, it's going to have some kind of degree of that lineage or heritage to it as well, just to enhance the mission one way or another, right?
Correct. The need for OPSEC and InfoSec doesn't go away. So we'll find new ways to do it, and with either combine it with different mission areas and or different expertise, but and different technologies. Again, technology is always evolving, so definitely take advantage of the things that the industry has to offer. And we'll go wherever people are talking. That's where the mission goes, right? So when people stop using email and start going to other mediums, then we have to go to those mediums to do the OPSEC mission.
Right, and even with change, there's constant, and constant really comes down to AFSCs and the personnel that do the job. So when we talk about the 50th Network Warfare Squadron, what AFSCs does your unit have?
So today we are predominantly intel heavy, right? So on the enlisted side, 1Os, we have a few in the senior positions, or 1N4s. I think they're 1N2s now, correct? We also have some 3D1s, 3Os, I guess technically, 1 Deltas,
Delta 7,
right?
So, 1 November.
On the officer side, 17 Sierras, 14 Novembers, right? So a very heavy intel flavor, right? With cyber in there as well. And, again, that change being constant, right? There is an opportunity for that to evolve as we figure out, what does evolution of our mission look like, right? So there'll be opportunities for our troops to potentially cross train, pick up additional skill sets, right? Embrace, maybe specific missionaries that they didn't have a chance to before, right?
Right.
So
no, I anticipate with the cyber growth, right? We'll see some changes within the 1 Delta 7 AFSC with the shred out changes over the next couple of years. Anticipate probably some 1 Bravo 4 mixtures in there as well as all of this starts to combine. And then as IW as a whole changes, I'm sure there'll even be more changes down the road when we talk about 5 and 10 years down the road. But like currently, though, when we talk about the 50th, what does the day in the life look like? So if I was to start in your unit today as a brand new airman, what would my day look like?
So as I left, I would say we just we're still effectively in the global pandemic. So I would say the day in the life has changed dramatically in 2020. How we in-process people has changed quite a bit. There's still a few members I remember meeting for the first time, even though they've been in the unit for about 6 months, because, again, being able to do stuff virtually has definitely helped us out, but it still has its limitations.
Right.
But I will say, again, a normal day in the life, assuming that someone is in person and able to come in to do the weapon systems operation after they become mission qualified. Typically, the sortie is broken down in either to a 4 to 6 hour time frame.
Okay.
So they have pre-mission, run the sortie, then there's a bunch of post-mission correlation. Yeah. So again,
Right.
so there's the mission would take up a good majority to 3/4 of the day or so.
So I actually get to put my hands on equipment and I actually get to do some job.
Yes, so
Awesome.
a keyboard, but then we also one of the capabilities we have is the radio frequency monitoring system, and that's pretty popular because, again, it gets people out in the field and they're actually monitoring a bunch of different signals, radios, LMRs, and it also have Wi-Fi sweepers and other things. So that mission area was actually one of the highest demand areas before COVID. And I foresee that mission set will have a future. Again, you go where people are talking. So that's where the mission goes.
Well, I'm a SATCOM geek, right? I love RF signals. And I definitely can see that when we talk about that mission set, the protection piece, how that comes into play, right? When we're trying to get information out covertly, right? Different ways around. Sometimes that RF signal is really the route. So having a good SA, situational awareness on what's going on, is definitely got to be key to some leadership when we talk about InfoSec and OPSEC. That's awesome. It sounds like it's a really cool atmosphere, real cool job, be able to come in and be able to actually do some mission when on UTA. But, as a senior NCO, I always look at some of the intangible pieces like airman development and how do you develop me as a leader. So what do you as a unit specifically do to develop your airmen?
Okay, I can again kind of go from what we've done in the past. Again, the future, as leadership changes over and looking for different opportunities, I think there's always have an eye out there for the future. But I'd say being in San Antonio, Texas, here at JBSA, there's a ton of different opportunities for folks to either again grow within their career field at different units on the base, and or to learn from those different experiences that we have within the unit. So again, for the 1Nos, I'll say the CDA weapon system is very kind of non-traditional intel, but we have given folks the opportunity to kind of hone and maintain their intel chops, doing intel briefs, kind of filling in. I will just say a non-standard type OSS function, where they're giving cyber threat briefs to senior leadership, even at the 16th Air Force. Again, it's kind of not specific to the weapon system, but it allows them to kind of still maintain their AFSC credentials and not lose sight of those core skills that they'll need when they become senior intel folks.
Gotcha. So I guess with that, you guys work with the other units on some of the cross utilization? Am I moving around and giving those opportunities? And then do you guys come together as an intel community specifically on a regular basis to kind of hone those skills? Because being non-traditional, I think that's always a concern. Am I going to lose or atrophy those skills?
I would say, there's still some silos of excellence with the intel community and the cyber community, but the fact again that there's so many of those silos of excellence here at the same base and same installation. So the 50th is actually getting ready to physically move buildings in the next calendar year.
Okay.
And so we'll have an intel unit upstairs from us that will kind of epitomize that cross flow, right? So there, even if we're not reassigning people, there's still the opportunity to do some like joint exercises or joint activities.
Going up and down the stairs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's line of sight.
Yeah, I think that hits a little bit on one of the wing's priorities, right? To develop our airmen, and so Captain Shaw from the A54th and the team working that priority is looking at deliberate mechanisms that we can use to develop our airmen further, right? And so they have a SharePoint site now that includes over 200 different technical trainings for folks that are interested in that piece, but also trainings on even some of the processes that are necessary for us as citizen airmen in order to do our basic admin pieces. So I think there's some opportunities for us to continue to mature that, right? To do that cross flow, that information from the various units, right? So you can learn what our sister squadrons are doing across the wing.
And I think there's also the wing is taking a very deliberate look at the types and quantity of exercises and different deployment opportunities that includes deploy in place, just the different opportunities that we create for folks as well. That's a key part of development on top of the CBTs.
Okay.
So CBTs is a good start, but we have to create the opportunities and the experiences for people to work together.
Right, and then also just the environment that champions and fosters that development, right? A lot of times we can get stovepiped and focused on just very finite pieces of a mission or just one aspect. So, if we can, hearing the fact that we're getting leveraged at the PDC, we're looking at the SharePoint sites, the fact that we're fostering that kind of relationship with other units, I think that's exciting, really, if we're looking at coming to this wing, this group, and specifically your unit.
And to... not to talk you up too much, but the incoming commander now current commander, Colonel Stride, Lieutenant Colonel Stride, he comes with a ton of experience that I didn't have, and I think it will really prepare them for the future as that change and that mission happens. The experiences that he's had with NSA and it's just they're in good hands, and that's I think a key part of that progression as well.
Gotcha. Well, that makes me, just really interested in what do we see as the future. I don't know if we can get an exclusive or some kind of little tidbit or nugget of what do you see the future of the 50th Network Warfare Squadron?
No, that's a great question, right? So as Lieutenant Colonel Leader pointed out, right, the CDA mission isn't going to go away, right? But we may change how we present those forces and maybe even where we present those forces, right?
Okay. And
so that's probably going to mirror a bit of the transformation that we're seeing within the 688th Cyberspace Wing on the RegAF side, right? So if you take that as kind of I'll say a flag on where the winds are blowing, right? There's a good chance that we take the CDA mission and the ACD mission, right? The cyber defense analysis and the active cyber defense mission and put those together just as the 688th wing has done. And with that said, right, there is a significant need throughout the 960th for range support, right? And so I'm going to put a little teaser out there because the earlier this week at Air Force Reserve Command, the roles and missions assessment team took a look at the range mission as a potential mission for the reserve. And General Jensen hasn't given it his blessing, but literally every member of the RMAT team gave a thumbs up vote to the reserve needs to do this mission, right? So there is a possibility. I'll leave it as a possibility, pre-decisional, because General Jensen's got to bless it, and then it ends up going to General Scobie and and COMAC, right, the commander of ACC, General Kelly, right, who will then give the official approval should they determine that's where they want reserve support to be, and that would then most likely come in two forms: supporting the active duty mission on the RegAF side, but again, we have over, I want to say 250-ish today CMR'd operators within the 960th group on 6 different weapon systems, and that number is only growing, right? And so the ability to have a range for training, for mission emulation, threat representative networks, for TTP development, for crew certification is a real need for us within the 960th. And so a little bit of a teaser, but that is one potential area, right? At the end of the day, we're going to go where RegAF and where 16th Air Force and ACC says, hey, this is where we need the reserve component. And of course, where AFRIC, where Air Force Reserve Command is willing to invest.
Gotcha. I'm going to be honest, my inner geek is screaming with glee with the idea of this, right? Just previous range experience and all of these other things, like the fact that, we're looking at expansion, we're looking at opportunities, whether that falls within the realm of the 50th Network Warfare Squadron or whatever. Just the idea that we're moving and progressing in cyber is just exciting for me. So I guess, at this point, I really would like to give you guys an opportunity to sell why an airman should come to this unit and be part of this unit. I think that we've done a really good job, but I want to hear the pitch, the elevator pitch.
Well, again, I don't think it's so much just when people know about what we do and you align it with other folks that have an inner geek as strong as yours, then I don't think there's much selling that needs to happen. It's just a matter of making people aware of the opportunity and then getting them through all the administrative kind of pieces that it takes to get people either into the Air Force to begin with or from one unit to another. But we can work through that. And I know that's one of the key areas that, again, General Brown has kind of hit upon is the bureaucracy piece. And so we've already seen a lot of red tape cutting there. So we can find a way or make one.
Right. And I think having a real no kidding mission that they're engaging on every UTA weekend makes a difference, right? So if you were to check the numbers from the exit interviews from folks that are leaving the reserve, one of the biggest complaints we hear is lack of job satisfaction, right? Because many of them train, but then never execute. So one of the benefits that we have here is that we're executing all the time, right? So you get that that satisfaction of, hey, I'm no kidding doing real world mission here as a member of the 50th. I think that's important.
Definitely. It's awesome. All right. Any parting words, sir?
No, I just appreciate the time that you've given us. And
I appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate this opportunity. I want to thank Lieutenant Colonel Leader for his leadership of the 50th for the last 3.5 years. I've been in the seat literally 10 days as of the date of this recording. And so I have been taking in as much as I can as I get my arms wrapped around it, and I'm really excited for what the future brings for the men and women of the 50th.
Awesome, gentlemen. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your leadership. I look forward to seeing where your career heads, sir. I know that you're moving on to XP, so that'll be exciting. I'm sure we'll end up having a conversation about winging XP. I look forward to seeing what you do with the 50th, sir. And to all of our gladiators out there, appreciate your time, appreciate your sacrifice, everything that you do for your nation. It's greatly appreciated. And always remember, let's get out there and stab our enemies in the face through cyberspace.